How can a large, rather scruffy-looking scrapbook transform a primary school's entire approach to homework? At Stokes Wood Primary School in Leicester, a combination of engaged children, involved parents and committed teachers, as well as the book, has achieved just that.
We've moved away from a situation where probably about a quarter of children were doing regular homework to a situation where it's probably the reverse.
This programme explains how an idea called Brain Builders has not only increased the quantity of homework done, but also improved its quality, while strengthening the links between classroom and home learning and reducing teacher time spent marking and assessing homework. On top of all that, pupils now actually enjoy homework.
The first time I got it, I didn't know what it was, and then I did it all, and then it turned out to be really fun.
Previously, all attempts to establish a policy had failed.
It does cause some conflict and friction between teacher and child, and sometimes teacher and parent.
When new deputy head Steve Snelson arrived at the school, he was given a challenge: find a homework strategy that actually worked.
We wanted to find a sustainable and a long-term strategy that would help us to link school learning to home learning and link what goes on in the classroom to the parents, give them an idea of what children are learning.
The scheme runs right across the school, from foundation up to year 6.
Each week the teachers get together and they look at the objectives from that week's work in literacy, numeracy and the connected curriculum, and they look at what will work well as home learning activities and how the children can show they've met their objectives from that week in class.
This is how one pupil completed a numeracy task related to the 6 times table.
5 times 6 is 30. In the summer I felt really thirsty. 6 times 6 is 36. In the morning I had Weetabix. 7 times 6 is 42. Everywhere the cows moo moo. 8 times 6 is 48. I lose my weight. 9 times 6 is 54. I fixed my old door. 10 times 6 is 60. I never drink whiskey.
That's absolutely fantastic, Mirren. And what's really good about that is that hopefully these words will help Mirren to remember the 6 times table. So 5 times 6 is 30. In the summer I felt thirsty, and that idea of linking 30 and thirsty. And so if Mirren can link those words to those answers, he'll have those times tables at his fingertips, and what a fantastic way to remember. That's a really smart brain builder. Well, you can have
Full details of a typical brain builder homework task, its links to a typical objective, as well as background to the scheme and how it operates, can be found on the Teachers TV website. The centrepiece of Steve's plan is a book which is given to each pupil.
Each child has a large book, and each week they put their brain builder sheet, which has the tasks and objectives for the week, and they put that in the centre of their double page, and then their work goes around it. And often their work, of course, extends beyond what's in the book, and we ask them to respond to the tasks in their own individual way using creativity. And it's an excellent example of personalised learning because they have a task related to their objective, but we try not to be too prescriptive about how they're expected to complete the task. So we've moved away from this idea of giving out hundreds of worksheets.
Another pupil responded to a literacy task to design a wanted poster like this.
Obviously lots of children decided to do it 2D on a piece of plain paper, but Aaron's wanted poster was a 3D poster of a troll wanted for not letting anyone pass the bridge and eating things, for example goats. And this is what we're trying to encourage children who put their own spin on the task they're asked to do.
The scheme develops from another idea called Learning Log, which an assistant head at a nearby school had tried out.
Children enjoy doing it, and because the children enjoy doing it, they seem to do a lot more homework. Before we had the Learning Log, we gave out worksheets. The worksheets didn't really serve any purpose. If you got them back you know, they were usually covered in coffee or the dog had sat on them, all this kind of thing. We had all those problems. But now we've got the learning logs, it's a lot more personalised, and the children actually take a lot more care with it. Actually, it's one of those books where it's probably more important than any other book they use in school because it's so personal to them. I think it's worse because it's simple, it's driven by the children and not the teacher. The teacher sets it up on a Monday, and from then on, it's down to the children.
Differentiation is a natural process as pupils respond in different ways to the tasks set.
What we're trying to do is allow the children to decide on how their task is presented, how they tackle a particular piece of work. So we try not to say, you must do it like this. We try to either give them a variety of ways in which to complete the task, a variety of ideas, or just say to them, be creative and see how you would present this task.
Because the objectives are open-ended, a special homework class gives the pupils tips on how to complete their tasks.
Here's the first one. Who can read the first tip to me? Neve.
Plan your work carefully. Taking.
Have a look at the word. Does it say taking?
Talking
good
to
girl.
someone at home about your task will be useful.
Useful, good girl. So, plan it carefully and talk about it with mum, dad, brother, sister, auntie, uncle, granny, whoever does work with you at home. Use that opportunity to share your school learning with the people at home. When you go back to your table, Mrs. Hurley and I will scoot round with this week's Brain Builder sheet, and I'd like you to stick it carefully in the centre of your next double clean page. We don't ask them to do it all on a Wednesday night or all on a Thursday night. We give them a week in which to do their work so that they can plan their own timetable to fit around sports and family activities, and also to give working parents an opportunity to find time at the weekend to work with their children.
Parental involvement is seen as crucial to an effective strategy. Steve tried to get parents on board early.
One really important aspect of this was to get the parents on board from an early point, and so at the start of the process the parents came in for an afternoon and we were able to explain to the parents our rationale behind the homework and also take comments and questions from them about how they could implement this at home, and they also gave us some feedback early on.
We send home a weekly task which are aimed at the parents, because I see it as a means of getting the parents on board, you know, really, really early on, and all the tasks are sort of saying things like help your child, encourage your child. And then they take them home for a whole week, and then they bring it back, and then I share it with them. And they tell me how they got on and who helped them and how much they actually did.
So it says there, we read a few teddy bear books. The one Jack liked best was Teddy's First Christmas. What presents does he get, Jack, in the book?
Train.
Yes. It's a way of firing the parents up about and getting them to work with their children and giving them ideas to work with their children, because often, you know, parents find it difficult to think of things to do with their children, and I try and put as many practical and fun things. They're quite fun, actually.
Since he's had Brain Builders, I think he's really focused on it. You know, he really does a lot of hard work on it. He is interested in what he's got to do for homework. The first thing he'll do is says, Mum, this is what we've got to do, this is what we've got to learn. And then we talk about it, and then we just look through books or go on the internet and do it from there.
What's your brain builder like today, Aaron? What do you have to do? Yeah, if you want to do it.
What he learns at school, he doesn't tell us everything, but with the Brain Builder, we know what projects he's doing, like he did World War II, and we learnt a lot from World War II as well, either from going to the library, going onto the internet, or just finding information out, gathering it all up and then putting it in a folder. And it was great fun doing it as well, you know, it's spending a bit more time with him.
Right, so how are we going to do that one? How do you weigh things?
Use scales and
things, yeah.
Hands. We've got scale in our bathroom.
Yeah, but that's the way you weight. You can have other sorts of things.
There's different sorts of scales as well.
When we do homework, he doesn't feel it's homework, it's fun time, because I make it more fun for him. Rather than sit there reading a book and writing it, you know, we just make it a little bit more fun.
The biggest impact is that it's kept parents informed and enlightened on what's happening in school, what the children are doing, what objectives they're covering. And so if parents are motivated to want to do something with their children, they know which areas to go in for that week. If they wanted to go to the library and get library books, they automatically got an inroad into what their children are doing. They can ask their children questions about what they're learning because they know they've got it written on a piece of paper, what's going on that week. So that's really nice for parents to have that.
Because they're spending time to do it with their children. The children see the relevance because they see the connection between actually what they've done and what they've done in the class. I think it does impact on their learning. And also they see that actually learning goes on outside of school as well, which is really important. It doesn't just stop as soon as they pass the door, they go out to their mums and dads.
The teachers have felt the benefits because parents are motivated, children are motivated, and the quality of homework's improved so much because homework tended to be something that you didn't put as much effort or energy into. And now we don't put massive amounts of effort or energy in, but the rewards we get are certainly worth what we do.
I think they appeal to their sense of creativity. I think they're very personal to each child. I think there's something that they can work alongside their parents with. But more than that, it's that link with what's gone on in school, and it's that chance to extend that learning in the home.
Marking is also less time-consuming than it used to be.
We try to spend at least half an hour a week where we focus on the children sharing their brain builders with each other and gives the teacher an opportunity to mark brain builders with individual children. Right, so let's go through this. So born at 6:23, AM or PM? AM, very early.
My dad had to go through 5 red lights.
Oh, did he? My goodness. And you weighed £7, 11 ounces. And what a beautiful little boy you were.
It's really, really simple to implement. It doesn't take lots of time. There's very little assessment needed. It's just a snapshot of what that child's done that week. So we don't do any detailed assessments as such. But because it's so visual, a teacher can look at a learning log and within seconds pick up a general idea of whether that child's been reaching their targets or not. And we think that's one of the reasons why teachers have taken to it so well.
Yeah, it helps me remember things better because like if I forget something like a sum, it helps me remember it more. And that's really good, it helps you learn. I find it really good.
What are the lessons learned at Stokes Wood which could help other schools implement the idea?
For any school to take this on board, they need to have all staff committed to its success. They then need to ensure that parents and pupils are on board, and they need to ensure that it's seen as a very high priority in school and given high status. And it's not an overnight solution to improving the quality of homework, but if the key principles of the Brain Builder homework or the Learning Log homework are followed, it's something that will work in many different environments, and that's proved throughout Leicester City, where it's worked in schools in a whole range of contexts.